the first year person is they spend time praying. Now, this is the most difficult part of my day because I have ADHD QTC 5. 6. So I spend time praying, and I have to have a little journal in front of me, and it kind of organizes my prayer. My prayer. Matter of fact, that's why I have this little book up here. The reason why I have this is because about 6 years ago, I got a hold of this thing, and it dramatically changed my life. It helped me stay in the first year on a daily basis because my mind is always shooting every which direction when I'm praying. I needed to have somewhere where I could write down my prayers to keep them organized. That's why I sit in the front of church. If I don't sit in the front and somebody in front of me moves, I go, I wonder what they're thinking. I mean, you can pray for my wife because I'm like this at home. So watch this now. Another thing about the first chair is this person believes in hell. You know how you can tell if you believe in hell or not? By whether or not you share your faith. I mean, that's how you can tell if you believe in hell. But 95% of people who go to church today have never led somebody else to Christ. I mean, it's a dangerous statistic. On the flight over here this morning, I'm sitting next to a gentleman. He prays to receive Christ. After I shared the gospel with him, he's like really shy and not very outspoken, so I was being sensitive and gentle, bless my heart, and I was talking to him about that stuff. Then he comes up, after he prays to receive Christ, tears are coming down his face, and he says, "Yes, that was awesome." I said, I thought, are you going to kill me? See, people do crazy things in their life. I'm scared to death to share my faith with somebody, but I don't care. I mean, what are they going to do, kill me? Ooh, scare me with heaven. I mean, I don't care. So the first chair person, they're going to share the gospel. They're going to tell people about Christ. As a matter of fact, the Bible says the joy of the Lord is this seat strength, Nehemiah 8:10. It also says in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 12, in fact, every one of you who want to live a godly life, you will be persecuted. This chair is going to suffer. They're going to suffer. Listen, you must choose. You must choose. You must choose if you're going to follow Christ with everything you have inside of you. It's going to hurt and it's going to cost you everything. If you choose not to, it's going to cost you everything anyways. The only difference is who gets you everything. Jesus, who loves you so much that he died for you, or Satan, who hates your guts and wants you dead. Either way, your life's going to be spent. This chair right here says, I don't care if I suffer. As a matter of fact, when I lift weights, when I played football in college, when I lift weights, the burn and the pain and whatnot, it was called entertainment. I mean, I ran like a 5:17:40, bless my heart. And I ran out on the beach in Wilmington, North Carolina, ran until I'd throw up and then run 3 more. Why? Because that kind of pain and suffering I went through was called entertainment. That's the same with Scripture. That's called passion. The word passion in Latin means to suffer. So if you're passionate about something, the suffering is called entertainment. This person right here loves being in this seat. It's not easy, but we're men. It's about time we have a few more men stand up and stand for Christ in the first chair. You should wear it to work, for goodness sake. I've never done that before. I don't know if I could do it again. Ow, pain. Okay, now watch this. That leads us to the second chair. The second chair is a person in the room who's a Christian, but they've gotten used to God because of time, because of whatever. Matter of fact, they feel very uncomfortable around the first chair. They say, hey, would you settle down? You're turning people off. They would love it if the first chair would compromise and kind of come over here and hang out with them. Want to see a picture of our churches today? Very difficult to be in the first chair when you're on the second chair a lot. See, the second chair person, I walked into my room drunk the first day of 2 days in college football. As a matter of fact, the head coach of Vanderbilt was one of my coaches in college at Furman University. And I walked into my room drunk, and my roommate jumps up and gives me this big hug and screaming at me, "Roommate, how's it going?" Finally, he lets me go. I jump up in the bed. I look back down at him. I said, hey, man, what you reading 3 weeks before school starts? He looks at me with this big smile and says, I'm reading the Bible. And I thought, I was stuck to the bed. I've never been around somebody I was raised as a CME Catholic. Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter. You know what I'm talking about? I didn't go to church that often, but I had several memorized prayers that I prayed almost every night before I went to bed. If you'd have asked me, of course I'm a Christian. I'm an American, duh. Of course I'm a Christian. So I'm laying there in bed, and for the first time ever, tears start to flood out of my eyes because I realized my sins hurt God. And I started saying, Jesus, I'm sorry about that. And I confessed 31 sins that night. I said, Lord, if there's a truck coming down the street and someone's about to get hit by it, I'll push them out of the way and die for them because now I know you. I didn't even know I got saved. My entire life was changed. No one had ever shared the gospel with me. I didn't know what was going on. I just gave my life to Christ and said, even if I'm going to die, I'm yours. I don't care what anybody thinks about that. The next morning, I got up and read the book of Matthew before practice, all 28 chapters, in my roommate's King James Version, if you know what I'm talking about. Didn't understand half the words, didn't care. By the end of the week, I'd read the whole New Testament. The first morning we were allowed to go to church on our own was also the first morning we could sleep in. We could either sleep in or go to church on our own because during 2-a-days you had to get up real early. So I'd go down and knock on my buddy's door and say, get up guys, we're gonna go to church. They said, shut up man, we're not going to church. This is the first morning we can sleep in. I said in response to that, you shut up, we're going to church. You see, I was a new Christian. I didn't know you weren't supposed to say shut up. You're supposed to say hush. Yeah, whatever. Man, shut up. So what happens is, we get up and put our leisure suits on and sock ties. And shut up. And the funny thing is we're wearing the same suit we wore as a senior in high school, and we've gained 30 pounds, so it looks like this. So we're driving on the road, and I'm gonna go to my roommate's church because he's got the biggest Bible. So I said, let's go to your church, roomie. So his church was a Southern Baptist church. I'm gonna go ahead and be honest with you now. It scared me to death. See, I thought Southern Baptists were kind of people who were dancing on the back of the pews, swinging from the chandeliers, maybe on the ceiling fans. I don't know. Scared me to death. I had no idea. I've never been to a church like that in my life. So when I get scared, I get louder and faster, if you can imagine that. I'm driving down the road. I leave the guys when we get to the church parking lot. I leave them and go into the church. Now, we're 10 minutes late because we play football. I walk into the back of the church, and everybody in the church turns and stares at me. Stares. I don't know. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. I mean, I'm scared to death, but the whole front row is open. I mean, I didn't know. There's no room in the end, so I want to row with all our guys can sit together, so I walk down, sit down right in the middle of the front row. Hey, this is awesome, man. This is great. My roommate comes in the back saying, no. I mean, I thought some sniper's gonna shoot me for sitting there. I didn't know. So I sit down there. All the other guys come and sit down. We take up the whole front row. It's kind of fun. All of a sudden, this noise came out of the walls. Ah! I told my roommate, I said, what's that, roomie? He said, it's an organ. A liver? I didn't say liver, man. Probably kidney. All I know is this. It's the music. I'm sorry if I offend you by what I'm about to say. Now, I mean to offend you by other things, but I don't mean to offend you by this. The music was kind of cheesy to me. It was kind of, see, I had all kind of albums. Albums are large CDs for the younger crowd here. And I used to break dance as a hobby, if you can imagine that. My back still hurts. What in the world? What a knucklehead. And so, I love music. I've been in choir all my life. I just love music. But for the first time ever, I'm sitting there listening to this music going, what? That's the worst stuff I've ever heard in my life. The tune was just horrible. But then I read the words. I'll never forget the first hymn I ever sang was, "Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing my great Redeemer's praise." I'm sitting there looking up into heaven and going, and tears are flooding out of my eyes. I said, God, this is awesome. Roommate, look at this hymn. Right? God, if I had 1,000 tongues, maybe then I could tell you how great you are. And I started sobbing. I instantaneously became a huge fan of hymns. I was talking to Chris Tomlin one time. I said, I wish somebody would come out with a CD that has the hymns and contemporize the hymns, because I want the theology of the hymns. And I still like, every move I make in you. But I still like the tune, don't get me wrong. I'm still kind of like a tune guy, but I love, but I'm listening to those hymns and I just love it. So I sit down, the preacher starts preaching, and he's preaching from the New Testament. And I'd already read the New Testament, so I grabbed my roommate's Bible. Give me your Bible. I started turning to the book of Colossians and said, hey, is that what that means? I started taking notes. I said, this is the greatest day of my life. And I turned around and looked behind me, and I'm thinking, now I know why everybody's dancing on the pews. This is the greatest day ever. I was having so much fun. So I turned around, I was going to join them on the pews. I didn't see anybody dancing, though. I saw two evil things, though. Evil thing number one, I saw people doing this. I thought, oh, bless their hearts, they must have stayed up all night, slopping the pigs. I mean, what do you do all night? I don't know. Then I saw the most evil movement on the planet. Every preacher and their mom sees you doing it. Here it is. You ready for it? People try to hide it like this on Sunday morning. Yeah, whatever.